Welcome back to part 2 of the GTE design series. If you haven't seen part 1, where we put 2 BMW M3 Tourings back to back on track, go and check that out. Now we are back home at Modal Suspension with Andre to talk about what was actually going on underneath the skin out there on the racetrack.
When the team at GT Evolution approached us initially, they were looking to design a damper kit that's suited for a particular purpose and for a particular driver. So essentially it was someone who wanted the benefits of on-track performance, but without necessarily throwing road feel or road feasibility in the bin.
What makes this product specifically different to something like a one-way coilover that I might want to throw in my car?
Yeah, so this coilover is a one-way adjustable coilover. However, it is fitted with an air cup. When you do start to fit things with air cups, you need to take into account the different needs from a travel perspective, but also you've got sort of intricacies, I guess, in the valving and spring rates that you need to look into as well. So essentially, these are designed as a whole, not necessarily buying something out of a box and then just slapping an air cup on top. There is a BMW kit. There are also kits for, let's say, the Nissan GTR or R35. We have a separate design for each of those cars.
So in terms of performance, what have these been proven to do so far in the real world?
As far as the on-track testing is concerned, the team basically took 2 BMW G80s to the track. One was fitted with a GT design kit, one without. So essentially one was able to prove the point that you can drive your car to the track, you can still have the creature comforts of a front lift, for example, and good ride quality on the road, but you can then have your cake and eat it too by going out on the track and not necessarily throwing too much compromise at your track performance.
And then more recently, the R35 GTR was able to do a 135 at Sydney Motorsport Park and a 158 at the Bend, which is incredible. How do you get that sort of performance with still be able to have height adjustable suspension?
So a lot of it's in the design. When the GT Evolution team approached us initially, they lent on us for, I guess, our expertise in the engineering of the kit. So there are things like the lengths of the kit that we take into account, bum stop design, the valving, and obviously the spring choice. So a lot of that comes from the calculations that we've done according to the needs of the GT kit. A G80 has a McPherson strut style geometry in the front, like this here, and the Nissan GTR, the R35, has a double A-arm or wishbone sort of setup. So a lot of things get taken into account, but again, that's, I guess, why the GT teams approached us. We look at all of that, we take the engineering into account, and we can help them produce a refined product.
So how much height adjustability do we have in these on the road, and then how do you actually adjust that from inside the car?
So when it comes to the actual air cup itself, we typically get 40 to 50 millimeters of lift in a McPherson strut geometry. When you start to look at double A-arm or wishbone geometries, you'll have the benefit of a different motion ratio, which essentially means we get closer to 60 or 70 mil of actual lift. Inside the car, it's as simple as a push of a button.
Obviously, being a suspension system that includes an air cup on the top of it, do you have to have an external air tank in the car?
Certain cars will demand different things. So one of the things that we look at, like I mentioned, is the motion ratio. So cars that have a really poor motion ratio or something that's not one-to-one will typically need a tank because we need that extra pressure in order to combat the physics at play in the geometry. Cars like the BMW, for example, you can get away with just the compressor. You've got a one-to-one motion ratio there, so the forces at the hub or at the upright are not extremely large. So we can get away with just a compressor there.
Awesome. So it almost seems like this is the perfect ratio between track performance, on-road comfort, with the height adjustability, almost like the perfect package.
100%. The kit definitely does a good job at, I guess, combating a lot of the compromises that you might have to get in some off-the-shelf products. So the engineering and the design that we've put into these really helps try to give the driver the ability to have your cake and eat it too.
All right, so what vehicles can I currently buy this suspension setup for?
So currently we've designed kits for the G80 M3 or the G80 platform. The team has also developed a kit for the R35 GTR and the STI. So of course that's their initial offering, but now that we've done a lot of the groundwork for a lot of these different models with different geometries, I expect that the application list will grow pretty quickly.
So where can I go to learn more about this suspension setup and whether I can get one for my car?
So of course you can contact the team at GT Evolution. They'll be able to give you all the information that you need. But of course, they do operate with dealers such as DNA Autosport, who can also help out with the fitment of the kit, as well as us, Modal Suspension. We can definitely give people a bit of an insight into the kit itself and answer whatever questions they might have.